All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast series of InsurTech Story. This is episode 3, and this is the first episode that we are kicking off in 2021. We have a special guest today, Mr. Sosnas Kanatse. Am I right? Excellent.
Absolutely.
So, welcome on board, and we are absolutely glad and thrilled that you are joining us directly from Ghana. So, it's a absolutely brilliant thing. We are connecting from one part to another through video conferencing and with the help of the emerging technology. And I believe it will get much more smoother and happier down the line. So, today we would be starting with the topic, the insurer of the future. That is from a digital strategy viewpoint, and we will also have some interesting points that Mr. Sostenos would add from the African standpoint as well. So from here we will take it forward. So Mr. Sostenos, can you please introduce yourself, some background, what exactly you're doing, and your vision for the future for the insurance industry in Ghana and Africa as a whole? Yeah, over to you.
Thank you very much, Saha. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
I can hear you.
So thank you very much, Saha. Okay, thank you very much. Like you mentioned, my name is Sostenes Koniche. I'm currently the Chief Commercial Officer of Ghana Life Insurance Company. I've been in this role for the past year and over almost 2 years now in Ghana Life. But then I've been in insurance I've been an insurance executive for the past 6 to 7 years now. Prior to that, I'd spent 12 years in banking, so yes, and then a bit of pensions administration as well. So I come from the total financial services industry background, insurance, banking, and pensions. Yes, obviously this topic excites me because of InsurTech. I definitely have interest in technology, the evolution of technology in insurance, and then especially relative to COVID-19 outbreak in 2020 and the way forward for insurance into the future in Ghana, across Africa, and later into the world. Yes, so I'm excited about this, and I'm looking forward to digesting this topic a bit more.
Absolutely. I mean, thank you so much for your time, and it's certainly an honor to have you at this series. Mr. Sostenas, just to start with, the global insurance industry leaders are working tirelessly, I would say, on developing digital enterprise portals that are built for future needs. So they encompass meeting future demands with predictive analytics, reporting on financial performance of products, and various plans to provide a bird's eye view of all the micro and macro indicators of the insurance business. So how do you see the insurance industry embracing this digital transformation going forward? Especially in I would say not a post-COVID period, but rather a semi-post-COVID period. And also, if you could add some viewpoint of how things would be shaping in your side of the world.
Fine. Interesting question, does this? Yes, obviously, of course, especially across our side of the world in Africa, insurance has really been basically about selling your solutions to your staff and using your core underwriting softwares underwriting and policy administration softwares to underwrite those policies. But beyond that, now we are all realizing, especially when COVID came last year, that look, we cannot continue doing business the same old ways all along. So we need to start looking at for technology. Of course, insurtech and technology insurance has been around in Ghana for a while now. We've seen a few things happening across, but I think more than ever, people are becoming, or all insurance companies are becoming a lot more conscious of it now, and then moving into the innovation space and then the technology-driven policy administration and even onboarding, selling, and all those other processes. So yes, the end-to-end process is seeing a lot of insurtech innovation coming through. What we are seeing across in Ghana mostly is a lot of movements happening where people are applying technology into various spaces of the insurance value chain. So yes, We have had people who have end-to-end solutions across the value chain, but then we have technology coming in, especially to look at smart pricing, or looking directly at policy administration, or looking strictly at risk analysis, looking at fraud prevention, crisis management, claims management, and then premium collection. So yes, various other ways of the value chain is experiencing technology. And then we have a few of them coming as well as the end-to-end process, insurtech as well. But for insurance companies, especially the traditional insurance companies now, I think a lot more is going into the back-end policy administration, or the back-end data and analytics. Now, yes, you may have agents on the field selling your policies, bringing in premiums and bringing in policies for you to underwrite. But then to what extent is data management really taking shape? Because you see, we are saying that data is gold now and data is the future. So to what extent are we able to query our core underwriting softwares to be able to give us the nuances of the policyholders that we have, so that we can build upon that to provide better service to our policyholders. So that's what is happening here right now. We are noticing a bit of app fatigue across, not only in insurance, we've seen that coming up across many places as well. Would an insurance company rather put up an app right now, or would you rather work together with, work in collaboration or partnership with an insurtech to be able to identify a particular place that you want an innovation to come in? For instance, something as simple as maybe claims ID verification, for instance, or risk. How do you determine the risk of a particular person or a particular event? What are you using? Are we using, let's say, geolocation information, for instance? Hitherto, I may have to leave my office to go, if I want to underwrite, say, a home insurance, go and see the particular location of the house, assess the risk manually around the house before I determine the risk and determine pricing. These days, because of technology, we are seeing a lot of geolocation services where either through the app that I'm going to be using, or through a particular platform that the insurtech provides, once you want to insure your home and you take on the process, we know the location, you give us the address, we know the geolocation, it pops up in our system, and we're able to determine the risk around that area and determine pricing from there. So these are some of the innovations coming up across our space, because hitherto these things were not there. There was a lot of manual activity where everybody goes out there manually to be able to sell a policy, underwrite same, and then be able to pay claims when they fall due. But then we have seen a lot of innovation coming. We can speak about the particular innovations that are coming up on one-on-one, even as we go ahead.
Since you mentioned the claims part of the insurance value chain, interestingly, when I look at from the blockchain perspective, most of the case studies, experimentation that has been come in the market, it's primarily, demonstrates a lot of general insurance, products. So it'll be very much interesting to know how exactly it would best fit the life insurance, because here we're talking about individual, maybe micro insurance to a higher amount, depends on person to person, and how can a technology like blockchain or a connected network would actually help the entire value chain of the life insurance product. From especially there are a lot of claims is something that is the a highly sensitive part in the insurance industry, because most of the frauds that we see is happening there. And that is something the industry is also quite worried about, how they can tackle the claims process better. So your views, please.
That's true. So yes, indeed, we realize that in terms of claims and claim fraud, mostly comes from the general insurance side. On the life side, mostly the policies are related to the human being or the individual. So in the event of claim or the times of claim, it is mostly about the identity of the person who is making the claim. How do we verify, typically in a COVID era, how do we verify the identity of the said person who actually is making the claim who is making the claim, be it a policyholder or being a beneficiary who is making the claim. The identity becomes the issue. So, for instance, in Ghana, one thing that has become common, for instance, is an integration process where the custodians of the various IDs, say the Ghana National Immigration Service or the Passport Office, has the details of all passports issued in Ghana. We use various type of ID cards. So whereas in many other countries you have your national ID card, we have our driver's license, we have our national passports, we do have our voter ID cards. These are acceptable ID systems that we use to identify our Ghanaian nationals in Ghana. The good thing which is happening currently is that all these custodians of these various IDs have integrated their platforms to the back end underwriting softwares of various financial services companies, not only insurance companies, even banks, so that if I received a claim coming through today from anybody, how do I verify that that person, the ID card that person is presenting is the correct one? Now, we take physical ID card, or you scan a copy, or you send an ID card by WhatsApp or by any other means. Once we receive it, how do we verify the details of that person? The integration that is happening is that, of course, together with the Data Protection Authority of Ghana, these insurtechs and fintechs have been able to receive approval for them to integrate their ID management systems into their systems, so that if I receive a claim, I can quickly on my desk be able to determine what the identity of this person. Has this ID card been issued by the relevant authority of the government of Ghana? If it is, then we can go ahead. And indeed, there are many times, or there are a few times where we've realized that people have submitted ID cards that are fraudulent, that were not genuinely issued by the authorities that they claim it was coming from. So we are realizing a lot of technology evolution around fraud or around ID detection, especially in the life space in Ghana, which has been a very welcoming revolution, or a very welcoming innovation for us in the industry. Yes, that's basically on that side. Yeah. And even on the general side, we know we've had occasion of floods do happen across in Ghana, especially in the capital city, Accra here. And we've had occasions where floods happen and damages to property happen, and then the general insurance company struggles to be able to assess the loss. These days, with the evolution of technology, how do you call them, drones, and then even aerial, what do you call those things, where you're able to determine the level of damage around a particular area, to be able to assess the risk, or to be able to assess the claim coming through from there. So yes, technologies or innovations are coming in those spaces in Ghana much more.
Interesting. Yeah, technologies are definitely, it's going to be the next big thing, but it will be also very much interesting to see how the challenges that the technology also brings can be tackled better, because we do not know what would be challenges. We cannot foresee it either. And one of the biggest challenges that every one of us could understand or foresee from now is the cybersecurity part, because that plays an immense role in insurance as well, keeping aside the financial services. So we'll see what additional technologies come in place to tackle that, apart from blockchain. So, and the cost factor, that is another thing that we have to be very much vigilant about. So coming to the second question for this session, in recent days, even in 2020 scenario, if we look at, a wave of startup-driven innovation has brought insurers' approach to innovation and technology under the spotlight. So, highlighting the challenges these traditional companies are, often facing. So, how do you see this moving forward? I mean, you can also highlight some examples from Africa to demonstrate any sort of an explanation, but your views, please, on this.
That's fine. Interesting. Again, what we are seeing as insurance companies, traditional ones, is to say, well, how do we add a lot more value to our clients, except maybe waiting for somebody to die so that you can pay a claim to the beneficiary? Can we become a lot more relevant? we've noticed that, especially in Ghana and from my practice, people are becoming a lot more conscious about living benefits because, you know, especially in the life space, for instance, where it's in Africa, maybe in Ghana specifically, talking about death is not an easy conversation to have. If I walked over to you and I told you I'm going to sell you a policy in the event you die, this amount of money will be paid to your beneficiary. It is considered bad omen. Why would you come to me talking to me about death? You know, so that makes the sale even a difficult one already. Even if the person then bought the policy or did it, how do you then what else does a person benefit apart from the fact that you come into the person's account and you debit a certain amount of money on a regular basis? Of what relevance can you be of to these policy holders? Because you know that for you to gain affinity from your client, the more they benefit from you, your everyday services, the more likely they are to stay with you or remain with you and do not become bored. So that is where we are seeing a lot of innovation coming up. Are insurance companies ready? Are they willing to become a lot more relevant in the lives of clients than only selling policies or only at the point of claim? What are the customer touch points within the value chain? How can we make this a lot more relevant? That is how insurance will continue. We've seen a lot of interesting innovations coming up. We know about Bima. I do not know whether Bima is in India and whether you know about Bima, but Bima has been in Ghana and they've been doing very interesting stuff. For instance, in the micro insurance space, and even we as traditional insurers personally have to take up a policy with Bima. And there's a lot of USSD innovation coming up because you see, whereas apps are becoming popular as well, or have been popular for some time, people are becoming fatigued with apps. So USSD or using simple feature phones to be able to access a policy. So I pick up my phone, I dial star something hash, and then I'm able to start the process of onboarding onto an insurance policy. So yes, that's what Bima introduced to the market, for instance, where you're able to buy policies just using USSD. What they realized was that, well, they were picking up, but they realized people wanted a lot more out of insurance. So they have continued to add this Bima Health, for instance, where as a result of you being a policy holder, you have access to other benefits out of insurance, where you are able to your membership or your status as a policyholder gives you access to a call center where they set up their doctors and they are able to give prescriptions. You have M-Health, for instance, or what do you call them? E-Health, yes, where you're able to have access to your doctors. Hitherto, we didn't even have that in Ghana at all, but because they wanted to do that, they were able to get the regulators to be able to approve for them, to be able to have this in place. You're able to buy your policy. Once you buy your policy, you make payments online, no human intervention at all, and then you're able to have access to health. If I need to, if I'm not feeling too well today, because the insurer themselves as well are particular about your health, they want you to be able to reach out to them. You speak to a doctor, they're able to prescribe for you. They have partnerships with even hospitals and even pharmacies, to the extent that once they are prescribing the medicine for you, you go to the pharmacy, you're able to get that the insurance policy gives you aside of death occurring, and then a claim is paid out. So these are some of the technologies that we are seeing. We are seeing a lot of technology as well around WhatsApp insurance, because again, coming out from that app fatigue, there are insurers that we are seeing who want to go online or want to go digital, but then they realize they don't really want to just put out an app there. There's the InsurTech in Ghana, Red Pair, which is doing fantastic work in this regard, where they are able to partner with underwriters, and then just by way of your normal WhatsApp that you do for your social media engagements, you are able to then tender to buy policy. There's a whole integration process at the back of that, where their software or where their system integrates with the core underwriting software, and then by way of AI, artificial intelligence, and bots, you're able to have interaction with the bot, and then buy a policy. You can buy a policy, do everything from end to end without any human intervention at all, and then your policy is ready, sent back to you by WhatsApp. You can print out your policy schedule and then everything. So yes, these are some of the technologies or innovations that we are seeing in our space in Ghana?
You know, insurers, the traditional insurers, I would say, they are, even though they are witnessing immense amount of technological advancement that is happening in the space, but still they their majority of them are still reluctant to even invest, or they are in a wait and watch still, or how things are going. And at that cost, insurtech startups are actually gaining a lot of traction there, including investments, funding series that's happening around the globe, the advancements, innovations that they're bringing on table. So, how do you think this traditional insurers and the startups, the insurtech startups in particular, can actually match their pace? Because apart from what the traditional insurers are doing, who are quite high with capital, either they're trying to negotiate a deal to buy those insurtech startups who are technologically advanced, or they're actually falling back. And these technological innovative companies are taking over the market, even though there are major companies like what you mentioned now, WhatsApp. So WhatsApp is basically, it's not an insurance company, right? So it is in a different sector altogether, but they're diversifying to a different vertical. They're tapping that market, the youth especially, for life insurance, for example. And they are going, which is easy to access, easy and transparent for them to see and use it, and also get the benefit from, without the need of any middleman. So, how do you see this part of this sector? One is the startups and the traditional insurers can actually do well in the coming days, or what should be, according to you, the go forward strategy?
That's a very interesting question. What we are seeing, or what I'm seeing from where I am, is yes, I think insurtechs are getting excited and interested in insurance and designing solutions in that regard. But there are two things happening. Either they may not have the technical insurance and skills to be able to become insurers themselves, to underwrite their own policies, or even from a risk perspective, if I am an insurtech, why wouldn't I rather remain an insurtech and then continue my partnerships, non-exclusive partnerships, so that I can have access to a lot more underwriters and send out my solution to them, than me trying to become one? Why would I want to carry risk as an insurtech, as an insurer? Because I mean, basically the business of an insurer is to take risk. Why would I rather take risk when I can stay at the background, earn my commissions, and then you, the insurer, the traditional insurer, continue to carry your risks? The fact of the matter is, for instance, yes, we've seen everything that Lemonade started in the US and is doing, but would Lemonade ever be able to outdo AIG and then the big insurance players? I am sure Lemonade would continue to remain an insurtech for a long time to come. Even if they were to acquire an insurance license, I am sure their solutions may still underwrite with other traditional underwriters. I mean, coming back home, the point is that we are seeing insurtechs remain insurtechs, so that their solutions are, so we've seen an insurtech who is providing solutions to 2 or 3 or 4 different underwriters. We've seen fintechs, payment solution providers, who are aggregators in the middle and are doing business with about 20 or 30 underwriters. Those people are not necessarily interested in seeking to become underwriters themselves, because they may not understand the skills or the insurance skills. They seem to be technology companies than insurance companies. So yes, they provide the technology, but they are leaving the underwriting and the risk management aspect of insurance to the traditional insurance companies. We've seen insurance companies as well, of course, the big players, the likes of AXA, the likes of your European insurance companies, are trying to buy out small insurtechs. We've seen a lot of pushback from some of them as well, because they want to remain non-exclusive to a particular underwriter. So we are seeing that as well coming. But in Ghana, mostly, I think it's a function of most of the traditional underwriters remaining underwriters, and then rather seeking out partnerships with these players, because of course it's a lot more expensive to buy out an insurtech right from the scratch, or to buy out an insurtech altogether. So why would you rather not seek the partnership, and then you tap in there, use them for the particular service that you need to use them for, you pay for the usage, rather than acquiring a solution that you may end up not even using as much as you thought you were going to be able to use it. So yes, if I have partnership with Red Pair, for instance, the relationship is such that
Right.
it is on use basis that I pay my commission. So that if I'm going to sell 100 policies, then the commission is paid on the 100 policies, but I do not buy the entire solution, keep it in-house, and then when I go out there, I'm only able to sell 10 policies. How do I generate enough revenue to be able to pay back the investment I put into buying out an insurtech? So yes, we are seeing a lot of insurtechs and fintechs remaining what they are, and rather seeking partnerships across board so that they can be a lot more relevant to society. Yeah.
You have made an interesting point here. You also spoke about the skill sets that they're looking, and you also spoke about the understanding aspect of it. So there is a clear lack of that lack lies with the insurtech startups on where they should be going or why are they there. So you know this sort of an insurtech startups, they really need to understand what they're solving for, how to integrate themselves into the industry that itself is going through a lot of changes, and also they do want to go through a lot of changes in the future with respect to policies, with respect to technology, with respect to product offering, etc. So is there any magic formula you think that can help solve this hidden industry challenge? So, meaning any advice from you for these startups? Because there's a large, kind of a clouded atmosphere there. That's like everyone is a startup. So, but hardly anyone would actually like to acknowledge that they are actually starting up. They are there to solve a problem, but they just have the view that they are a startup and that's it. But they're starting up with a purpose and they should go with it. So there's a clear lack of mismatch of purpose with the value that they're actually delivering to the society. So what would be your advice?
I see where you're coming from. For me, I think differentiation is going to be very key. If for those startups that are very clear in their mind what exactly they want to solve out for, the solution, the need that you are solving for, and you are putting out a specific solution to solve that, I think are going to become the insurtechs that make it to become big ones into the future. Yes, there's a lot of crowding happening here because we are seeing that a lot of the innovations, some of them are becoming a rehash of the other, so they are all around. We are seeing a lot of payment innovations happening here. The particular risk, what we are not seeing in Ghana, and I'll give you an example, would be that, look, people should be able to identify specific risk that hitherto were not insurable risk and be able to make case for why an insurer should be able to insure such a risk. You, the insurtech, should be able to put your story around the risk properly, present it, and then put your technology at the back of it, present it, and get an underwriter to underwrite that risk for you. I'll give you an example, a very practical example of Flock. I don't know if you know about Flock in the UK. So Flock is an insurtech, but then they are purely in the aviation space, unmanned aviation, what do you call it, the drones. So I think about 3-4 years ago, they identified that, look, there's this need that has remained in the industry that nobody really has a solution to. For instance, some maybe 10-15 years ago, there were no drones. So insurance companies would not have ever imagined any risk coming out of drones to have underwriting, to have policies there for a drone company or a drone pilot to be able to buy. So if I bought my drone today in Ghana, would I be able to insure that drone? If there are no such knowledge and no such risk ever existed, insurance companies will never have had the need to underwrite any risk for that. But now drones are everywhere. Individuals are buying them. But what if an individual launches a drone in his house and then for whatever reason, that drone ends up landing in somebody else's compound or even hitting a child? Are there any risk there that insurance companies must underwrite, or how would insurance companies go about underwriting such risks? They didn't know, nobody knew this. Flock then put together a business case for an insurance company to underwrite the risk behind drones, so that, for instance, you, the launcher of the drone or the drone pilot, you are insured. The drone in itself is insured. The work of the drone or whatever you seek the drone to do is insured. So all this risk, I'm sure definitely there will be a lot of aviation engineers in flock, because you see, where they being aviation engineers understand the risk behind these drones, and they're able to put together a business case and a paper, present that to an underwriter, for the underwriter to understand how they can go about assessing the risk of these drones and putting in place policy wordings to be able to underwrite this risk for everybody to benefit from. And they've been doing tremendously well since then, because now I can buy a policy on a need basis. I don't need, but the fact that I have a drone doesn't mean I need to buy a drone policy for a full year. For instance, so the Flock puts in the market a policy where at the time of you launching your drone, if you know you're going to, let's say, do a music video or TV production for 2 hours, you buy your drone policy for that 2 hours, you pay your policy on a need basis, you pay for that, and then for the 2 hours that you are launching your drone, you are covered. For you yourself, you are covered, the drone is covered, theft, the drone is covered for theft, for any eventuality or any damages that the drone may cause to any property anywhere. All these risks is put together and then given to an underwriter to underwrite. So you see that this is specific to a particular risk. They are able to design solutions around the risk and put out there. Such a company would never struggle, because you see, their solution is unique, and it's a differentiator. It's a unique solution that answers a specific solution, that provides a specific solution. So, and they take the first mover advantage. So I think that that's the way forward. Are insurtechs looking out for solutions? Are they looking out for needs or risk that hitherto were not underwritten, and in putting a business case behind it, putting a technology behind it that it's simple for the insurer to be able to accept or to be able to look at and appreciate, and then underwrite such a risk? That is the way forward. That is where we should be going. I think the ones that are generic, payment, let's say premium collection, claim management, and all those ones are generic. And I think that a lot of even traditional insurers are developing technologies internally to be able to better those things that they are doing. So yes, insurtech should start focusing on risks that hitherto were not available, and putting together solutions behind those risks for insurers to be able to take up and then underwrite for the general public. That is right.
So, you mentioned about drones quite several times. So, and this is something we all are witnessing to be the next big thing in the technology space. So, and the marriage of insurance and drones, it's such a massive, outcome that we are seeing, especially how it's going to make a major inroads in the agriculture sector for crop insurance, for example. So this is something that is going to be huge in every continent, I would say. It is taking over the Indian market at a large scale in very aggressive manner. It is taking over a lot of, it's actually helping the insurance companies to innovate with many products, I would say, in Europe, in North America. How is it, according to you, it's going to shape the African market?
There's a bit of break there's a bit of sound break.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly now.
Yeah. So should I repeat?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So what I was saying, how the drones and the insurance industry, the marriage of these two particular sectors, how is actually making a major inroads in the agriculture sector, like for example, crop insurance, forest fires, and etc. So how do you think it's shaping up in the African continent?
Yes, I think a few countries in Africa, I think Kenya, South Africa are way ahead in this area. The likes of Ghana, we are coming up strongly as well. I think agriculture insurance has not been very popular around here, especially again as a result of how do you determine or assess the risk that agriculture presents, and how do you design the solution around underwriting that risk. A lot of that risk are climate and weather related. So droughts and floods and stuff like that. Now, climate and those things are technology in terms of if you're a traditional underwriter or a traditional insurer, how are you able to determine what the rainfall pattern for a particular year is going to be? You may not have that knowledge or that technology. But again, these are areas where insurtechs are coming up and designing solutions on weather patterns, designing solutions on geolocations, and then and climate change, in terms of droughts and all of that. So yes, these technologies are coming up. We've seen some general insurance companies pushing the agenda or being ready to take up such underwriting skills. But it's also a function of whether even our farmers are ready to understand these things and assimilate them and work with them. So that's where we are. So the takeoff in Ghana has not been loud, but I know, for instance, being involved in the international community a lot, I know that the international community is pushing a lot for this to happen in Ghana and across the rest of Africa. So yes, I know how much India has gone ahead relative to agri insurance, and then we are trying to catch up as well in Ghana. The technology exists now. We have insurtechs that are able to integrate these weather and climate and geolocation technologies into underwriting solutions for insurance companies to underwrite. It's always a function of pricing that risk and whether the smallholder farmers, who typically are farmers who are farming on 2 acres or less than 2 acres across the regions in Ghana. So there's a function of pricing there, and there's a function of the underwriting expertise. In terms of the technology, we've seen that the technology exists now, and we've seen small insurtechs or smaller insurtechs bringing or pushing that technology for underwriters to underwrite those risks. So that is where we are. The technology exists. The insurtechs are pushing it, but the insurers, the underwriters themselves are a bit careful as to taking on those agricultural risks and underwriting them fully on their balance sheets. So what we are seeing a lot coming up as well is the international community sometimes giving or some investors ring fencing capital for underwriters specifically to underwrite agri insurance, because we all know the risks there. And if you left that risk on the balance sheet of the underwriter, if a particular year goes wrong, the insurance company may end up collapsing. So we are seeing ring-fence solutions where key specific investors are pushing a particular amount of money to underwriter to use that money to underwrite the risk in that agriculture sector. That is where we are going, and I'm seeing that 2021 and beyond is going to be very loud in this area. We know the insurance regulator, the NIC as well, is pushing for that to come in as well. So that is another area we are seeing a lot of push for, but that's not really taken off that strongly on the ground yet.
I think Africa is going to be one of the very exciting continent that's going to give a big push to the global insurance sector, be it with contribution to revenues, technology, skill sets, and also innovation. And every large companies, startups, if you see, they are actually very much eagerly either have or already or either looking for partnerships from the African continent. So it's going to be a huge thing, and we all are eagerly excited. A global partnership that would come for our witness, and we'll just wait and watch and hope for the best, I would say. So it was with this we come to the end of the session, and it was such a pleasure to speak with you, Mr. Sosthenes, and I will look forward to connect with you again in our future series as well as our future virtual conferences. Till the time we meet physically, for physical events. I hope that day comes soon. So until then, you stay safe, take care, and again, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Saha. It's been great talking to you. Obviously, it's exciting being in the insurance industry in Ghana and Africa, and absolutely, there's a lot of innovation that we are driving strongly. I'll be more than happy to talk to you again, even as we continue to evolve and innovate strongly around the continent here. Thank you. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you.